Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is our music video idea pitch. I'm Kane.
I'm Miguel.
I'm Jake.
And we are YDKM. First off, I'm going to go through John roles we had during the production of our music video. I was director, lead editor, and main actor of the actual production.
I'm a co-director of photography, camera operator 1, and lighting and sound technician.
I was also co-director of photography, camera operator 2, and lighting and sound director. Now on to Kane, who will be pitching the initial idea, concept, and influence.
The music we have chosen is from the latter part of 2008. It's from an album called Appeal to Reason by Rise Against. The track on the album that we've chosen is called Hero of War. It is an acoustic rock track, and we interpreted it as sort of following a sufferer of PTSD. From him actually joining the army, to training through the army, to actually focusing mainly on the effects it has on his mind and body after he leaves, he has to rejoin society as a whole. This then moves on to our concept, which is just briefly run over. Boy gets recruited by the army. It will follow why he has joined, the resistance leading up to that, the steps he goes through whilst being enlisted, being convinced, being torn, being confused. It then moves on to showing him training in the army, the friends he makes, the friends he keeps, and the friends he actually loses in moving away and losing contact to the outside world. This then shows the changes he goes through and the obstacles he then faces, both physically and mentally. This then will eventually lead to the main focus of the video, which is showing the deterioration of his mind and body, showing all the loved ones he loses, the friends he loses, and the way he feels isolated and is struggling to cope with society after going through such a traumatic time. We had many inspirations for the music video itself, but we narrowed it down to 5. The main one for the actual flashbacks and the home footage that we are going to get was Cast on the Hill by Ed Sheeran. This was because the music video very focuses on memories in progressing the story, and that is what we want to focus on, the good memories that he had, but then they're being overshadowed by bad, which is why Stan is also another prime example of mental deterioration, obsession, and the way it affects everyone else around him, not just himself. The way it destroys him as a person and the family he goes to, end up destroying. There was also A Few Good Men, which is a film that I believe the actual costume within that can be implemented within our music video. We thought the captain could dress a lot like the people within that and be smart and still uniform with the themes we want to keep. There is also V for Vendetta and Full Metal Jacket. V for Vendetta, we mainly focused on that because the main focus of the music, well, one of the main focuses is him getting his head shaved. Well, me getting my head shaved. We were constantly cutting back to that, with it constantly getting more deteriorated and worn down over time to show the stress that he has, the strain he's having on his body and them. To just implement physical changes he has to go through without me actually having to physically change myself. And I was also in charge of doing the storyboards for this production. The storyboard is used as a visual representation, a visual cue when we're actually on set or on location for filming. As well as the shot list, we can look at it and see what we're filming, when we're filming it, how we're filming it, the shots we can use to see if they will transfer well from the actual drawing onto a film. The shot list and storyboard is also good for showing shot type, shot duration, camera angles, and it also shows a bit of the scene description. I will now pass you on to Miguel, who's going to go through the script with you and neaten that up.
Okay, so as you can see on the diagram behind me, there's about 3 characters that are noteworthy in this. There's one primary character who we've just called Young Man. Then the 2 others are the man in the beret, who we're insinuating to be the recruiter, and the father of this person, who takes place later in the story. Now, as you can see, there's no real names given to the soldiers. This is to get our actors in a frame of mind that they're only identified as their occupation, which is what a lot of soldiers are. And as you can see on the script, it utilises a lot of close-up shots. This is before the mental deterioration, as it's meant to see that he's filling the frame, he's full of life, and he's close to those around him. But as the script goes on, we're going to use a lot of long shots. This is to represent an emptiness in his life and those who have left him. And then we're going to move on to Jake with the technical aspect.
Well, first I'll start with the equipment that we'll be using. We'll be using 3 cameras, 2 DSLRs and 1 camcorder. The 2 DSLRs we'll be using is the Nikon D3400 and the Nikon D3300. The 3400 being student owned by Miguel, and that will be used by him. This will be used for the primary angles and primary shots. The D3300 will be booked from college and used by me, and that will be for the secondary shot. The Panasonic Handycam, which is the camcorder, this will be used for the when the main subject is reminiscing about his past, and we use it for the memory footage, as we want to later on get an old film sort of style, so we're using a lower quality camera. We're going to be using a mic, which is a Rode shotgun mic, booked from college. This is again to just pick up live sound, especially for the head shaving scene, which is our biggest scene, to hear the razor going along the head. Lights, we'll only use lights in one scene. These will be booked from college, and we're just going to light up the dark room, the subject in the dark room when he's getting his head shaved. Post-production. The post-production software we'll be using is Premiere Pro CC. This is because it's industry standard software. We've used it before and we have experience. It's easy access, it's in college, and we can use it for free. And also it has all the tools that we need. Talking about tools, aspect ratio, we can change the aspect ratio with Premiere Pro, and this is important with our music video as we alternate between aspect ratios. The main aspect ratio will be 16:9, which will be filmed with the DSLRs, and we'll letterbox it to give it a more cinematic effect, which will also give the illusion of a sharper image and a wider angle. The 4:3 aspect ratio will be done on the camcorders, again to make it look more like standard definition footage, old film footage, and to connect history. Colour correction and film effects. A bit of context and a refresh of the plot. So the man, he's at home and then he wants more from life, so he joins the army, but then he goes through traumatic experiences, and then he finally comes home and he's struggling to connect with his old life and goes through PTSD. So when he's in the army, we're going to have a slight saturation blue to show that he's content with his decision. And as the music video progresses and he goes through more traumatic scenarios and eventually comes home, we're going to slowly saturate the footage so that it looks a lot more duller, and this is to show that he's really in dark times when he comes back and he's struggling to connect with his old home, etc. For the memory footage, we'll have a film grains effect with a slight brown cast, and this will be to make it look like old film footage again, and to make it obvious that this is past events and make sure people understand that this is history. Now, location. We have 3 locations on these slides with each backup locations in case we can't get the primary ones at the time. Now, for home scenes, we have first choice location is 19 Heathcote Street in Loughborough, which is Miguel's house, and we have permission for this by Miguel and his family. It's very accessible as it's in Loughborough, and the house itself is very characteristic, and you can see there's bookshelves and art on the wall. The second choice, if we couldn't get this house, would be my house, which is 26 Blythe Avenue, Melton Mowbray. And again, we do have easy permission for this, but it's further away, which means it's less accessible. And the house has a lot less characteristic and personality to it. It's very dull, and we need a house with character to really emphasise how the main character has lost connection with his personal life. For the head shaving scenes, which is our biggest scene, first choice would be the green screen room, as we can get it very dark, and we need a very dark room to shine the light on the subject. We would get permission easy from the college, and it's very accessible as it's in college. If we fail to get this location, we have a backup location which is in the same house as our primary location for the home scenes, which is Miguel's house. This is his bathroom, and again, easy permission. It's very accessible, and it's in Loughborough again, but it's not as practical. It's smaller, and we can still get it dark, but shining a light, it would reflect on the white walls, and we wouldn't get as much of a good effect. For the outdoor training scenes, which is where he's in the army and they're training outdoors in the mud. Our first choice would have been the grassland area behind Holwell Sports Club at Asby Hill. This is a very good location as it's very grassy, lots of hills and mud paths. But recently, fences have been put up and with signs saying you can't go in. And we think someone's new has bought the area, so we're unclear in the ownership, but this is quite a recent thing that's happened. So we do have a backup location, which is Bradgate Park. Now this is a public location, so we have to keep that in mind, but this would be a very good place to have a training scene, as it's very big and lots of environment opportunities. And this also links with the memory scenes, as we would have the flashback scenes of him when he's younger on top of Bradgate Hill looking at the sunset with his friends, and we can then cut it to him then training in the army and show that his life has sort of progressed. Now on to Miguel, unfortunately.
Okay, so in another diagram you can see that we created our pre-production documents before this pitch, as you can find it in the package. It also includes our Gantt chart for scheduling, and there's more specific dates in it. We've also had to be thinking about booking equipment and actors quite early due to competitors booking out limited resources, so we need to get ahead of them. And eventually that's going to move on to production, and technically production has already started as we have filmed a memory scene on top of Bradgate Hill. But these are all pre-head shaving scenes, as we've called them, because once King's hair's shaved, that's the point in no return. We can't just go back to film him with hair. And a very scary thing about filming the head shaving scene is that we only get one chance to do it. So that's the main reason we're booking out multiple cameras, so we can get loads of shots just in one and make sure that continuity is good. Then we'll be filming the house scenes. This is good because directly after Kane's hair's shaved off, we can immediately, or almost immediately, go to the house. It doesn't take a lot of distance, it's not very far away. Then after that, we'll be filming the training scenes. The reason why that's going to be last is because that will involve travel, so we'll have to secure that. And then, if we're not satisfied, we'll have a bit of contingency time over the Easter holidays, and hopefully it will be our deadline for when we come back. So the first thing we'll do is we'll import the footage to the computer and we'll set up bins and layouts. What we're going to do is we're going to edit individual scenes together, well, separately, so we can then get the fully edited scenes together, stitch them up, have a nice rough edit going, so we can add our final touches, so we can break any continuity errors that might be. And then we'll have our final edit ready, we'll export it, and we will market and distribute it through YouTube and social media, as that's the only thing available to us. And finally, our pre-production documents. Now, the pre-production package that we've given you, it doesn't say who did what, so we're here to explain here. Kane Joe Bone was in charge of the storyboard, the concept, and the shot list. Jake was in charge of the location scouting, the technical documents, and the health and safety document. And I was in charge of the script, schedule, and permission documents. You can see that we've emailed them. Now, with Interscope Records, who own Rise Against's album Appeal to Reason and the track Hero of War, it's more likely that we're going to only be able to gain permission through Facebook, as they're more responsive on their Facebook page, and because they're a subsidiary of, I think, Universal Music Group. It has to go through quite a lot of people, and it might just end up not being given. Thank you.
If you have any questions about our pitch or our idea, now's the time to ask.
Thank you much, Robin.